Hello, everyone. So, today, what we will do is we'll talk about how to create sequences. First, just give a brief summary of what we discussed before. We talked about if else condition, if elif, and nested if elif conditions. So, what we will do today is to talk about the sequences because the most common exercise in bioinformatics is to deal with the sequences, to compare the sequences, to index the sequences, to identify important site present in those sequences. For example, any binding sites or any active sites or any interactive sites between the two proteins, and also to the transcription factor binding sites and so on and so forth. There's a lot of things what a bioinformatics needs when he is dealing with the sequences. He or she is dealing with the sequences. So what we will learn today is that how to create sequences in Python, how to index elements of sequence, and how to slice the sequences, like how to cut the sequences. There are different ways of slicing and making subsequences. We will discuss all of them. And what are the most common operations which are used to deal with the sequences, right? So, so for most of the sequences are strings or list or tuple or list of strings and so on and so forth. So first of all, how to declare the sequence, right? One way is to you can just directly declare the sequence, and the other is that you can use the constructor for building the sequence. For instance, here is one example that if you just write a, right, so that's a string, right? You can also write, like, for example, both of them are, sorry, not this one, both of them are same, like both are giving you the same output. So it means that you can use these kind of values to um, define a string. Also, you can define the multiple items, for example, a, t, g, c, so on and so forth. So now this would be the string. So if you can make define a string of one argument, or also you can define a string of multiple out arguments. Same is for the list. Like you can define a list directly by writing this, or you can write, or you can define a list by writing multiple, and they can be of different data types. For instance, if you write like this, right, so it's another string. So that's how you can also define the list. Same for the tuple, right? There are different ways, but also you can use the constructors. For instance, you can uh, use these kind of for instance, string srt string, and you can write the names. That's one string. Also, if you want to define a list, so for instance, if you can use the list constructor function, and you can 2 comma 3. So that is the list. So here this is the function, this is the constructor, these are the parentheses of those, and this is the list we defined inside, right? Or another interesting thing is that you're using the list, you can also do something like for instance, so it will divide it the strings into a number of divide the string into list. Like, for example, here we wrote list, and then we wrote two variables that are aa, and they are written together, not in commas, which is the usual way of writing a list. But if we use the list function, it will automatically divide the string into list, right? Same goes for the tuple, right? For example, tuple, you write, sorry, not here, you can write, tuple, and you can just so that's another tuple. Here you can it's automatically converted that into a tuple, right? And also you can, that you can also save that into another value. For instance, if you are writing like this, and you write a equals to So it's a string, right? It's a string. You know how to save a variable into the. And also, if you have a if you have a for instance a list of values in a list, like for instance a equals to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the list, and using a function or the total number of the items in the list or in the tuple, you can use the word length function. You can enter, and you can see that the total list of number, the length of the list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it will give you the length. And what do you think, if I write this, what would be the length? What do you think? It's 2, right? Because it has 2 characters, so on and so forth. And also, yeah, you can also check the empty, for example, empty string. You have an empty uh, list, and if you want to check the length of that, it will give you the length 0. So these are the basic ways to how to define a string, tuple, or list for sequences, and also how to find total number of items in that list. So, what are the most common operations which are performed on these in these sequences? Number one, which I should discuss with you, is the slicing. The other one is repeat, and one is membership, and one is concatenation. We will go through all of them one by one. But first, you should know that how to index a sequence, because a single element of any length of sequence is accessed by the index. For example, if we have a list of DNA sequences, for example, here if you write, oh, here, if you write DNA, we consider we have a list of nucleotides, and if we want to check the index of the nucleotide, we can use the, for example, we can use the index. For example, if we write zero index, it starts from the zero. For instance, if we write DNA 1, what it will give you? T, obviously, right? So that's how you can index. How does it work? This first, if I zoom it in more, the first one is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is the total list. And we can access in positive from 0 to 7, as well as we can access by negative. For example, this would be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8. So, like for instance, if I write -7, what it will give you? Sorry, -1 for the first one. It will give you the last nucleotide of the string. That would be T. If you write, for instance, -8, it will give you the first, this one, A of the sequence. Right? Oh, where's it? And yeah, so on and so forth. So keep in mind that 0 is the first character here. It's a bit confusing in Python, but when you get used to it, it will be easier for you to remember that 0 is for the first index, and then it starts like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. and for negative, it's not from 0, it's like -1, -2, -3, -4, -6, -7, -8. So from if you go to positive, it is positive strand, it is plus 0 to 7. If you go negative strand, it is -1 to -8. That's a bit tricky, but still it is it is how it is, right? So, and also, it means that if you are writing 7, it is giving you the last because if you write here, if you write 8, what it will give you? Nothing, because it's out of range, because it's starting from 0 and it's going to, if you write 7, it will give you the last, right? I think this is enough for now because it's compiling a lot of things. We will get back with the detail. We will have a separate discussion about how to index and how to index the sequence, how to access different nucleotides in the sequence, and then how to slice those sequences. I think that's enough for now. See you soon. Bye bye.